Welcome to Cosmic Channels. I'm your host, Braden. Welcome to the live stream. Listen, lines are open, 1-833-703-0424. I'd like to get, some news out, but we got a caller already on the line. We've got Kyoto from New Jersey called in early. Kyoto, are you there?
Yep, I'm still here.
Woo! You're live on the show now. Thank you so much for being that first caller. Honestly, those people who don't know, you can call. I'm in studio with the lines open 10 minutes before 6, so you can always call in early and be the first caller. It actually helps me out tremendously because I get everything set up. Kyoto, what do you got for us tonight?
I basically am calling in reference to one of your last callers last season about a haunted workplace.
Okay, let's hear it.
When I was working at I worked at this place, left, came back, and the first time I was a scanner. And where the scanner was, it was facing against the wall with an open doorway right next to me on my left. And then on the far side was a different kind of scanner and a bunch of boxes. It was a Sunday night. Clock-in station was right next to me. I knew I was the last person in this area, and I saw a lady walk through the wall, past the boxes, and just vanished.
What did she look like?
Long, almost like the girl from The Ring, but not as unkempt.
Like
long,
white dress kind of thing?
Yeah, white dress, long straight black hair.
Sounds like you saw a lady in white.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty common cited apparition is the lady in white. Anything about your work that would maybe make you think that it's a haunted, the area's haunted, something there's haunted?
I've heard a lot of people comment about how they've heard doors sound like they're opening and closing in the area, but when they look over, that area is pretty wide open. Depending on where you stand, you could see all 4 doors.
Yeah.
And no one was there.
So,
I felt like in the same area, I've also felt like a presence standing right behind me, like you know that feeling when it feels like someone is right up against you? I felt that while at the scanner, so much so that I was twisting my head back and forth trying to see who was there. And
getting the chills and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, brutal.
And office rumor is that apparently someone had a heart attack there, and he was the last person in that area, and no one found him until the next morning.
So maybe a couple ghosts then, because if you're seeing a lady in white and there's a story about a man dying, maybe there's more than one thing kind of lurking in this place of work.
Quite possibly.
You ever get the chills, cold sensations?
Sometimes.
Now, is this kind of like an ongoing thing, like well known amongst the workforce? Like everyone's kind of, has run-ins with the ghosts?
Yeah. Quite a few people have talked about hearing things, seeing things. It's just a running joke of saying, I know when I was the last person to leave, I would tell the office ghost, bye, see you later.
Yeah, so you guys are, there's almost a level of respect there.
Yeah.
Good. So what are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on why these things are hanging around there?
Oh, I want to kind of say toxic work environment, saying, doesn't matter if you're dead, you still have to clock in for your shift.
Oh God, I hope not. I hope that's not the case. I mean, I guess it's interesting to think that if you work the same job for 25 years, I guess, if you pass away and you don't know, maybe you do go because habitually you go to that area, and so you just end up there. It's terrifying to think about, not for the people working there, but for yourself, that you, upon death, have to return to work.
Yeah,
Brutal.
You don't want that.
No. Kyoto, thank you so much for calling in with that workplace story. I hope your story inspires others to call in about their haunted workplace, because I think everyone works in a creepy building or something. I think it's a lot of people have that kind of that vibe in those old buildings. So hopefully your call inspires others to call in and share their experience.
Yeah. And would it also be possible to claim the one dream per episode?
Yeah, you're the first caller. You can have two. You can have 2 stories. You can exercise that right, Kyoto. So let's hear it.
All right. This was back in the mid 90s when I was about 4 or 5. I had this dream 3 times in a row. And basically, me and the entire class of kindergarten, preschool, what have you, we were going to go to a park. So we walked our little butt spot down there. And then all of a sudden, this gigantic sinkhole appeared in this park. We're like, oh, okay, we're going to go to another park. Walk down the road. Right when we get there, another huge sinkhole just appears in the middle of the park. All right, third time's a charm. Another sinkhole appears. And then we're like, okay, we're all just going to turn around and head back. And then at this third sinkhole, I all of a sudden am looking up out of the sinkhole at myself, and a little monkey, like Apu from Aladdin, just hops up on my shoulder. And I had this dream 3 nights in a row.
Weird. The thing is, I'm like, because a lot of times dreams have, meanings or deeper meanings and stuff. But you're so young that I just kind of think, I'm like, was there some sort of story in the news or something in that time about like a sinkhole that opened up and, you kind of picked that up? Or it's so weird because the Aladdin thing, 90s Aladdin, like who didn't want a little Apu on your shoulder? So that kind of makes sense. It's just weird to have that reoccurring sinkhole. Makes me think that you saw something or had an experience at that age that, you were, at some level fascinated by this.
Quite possible. It has been about 30 years since I've had these dreams.
But they've stuck with you.
They stuck with me for this long, and I can still remember it.
It's weird, yeah, because I've had a couple of recurring ones when I was a child, and I still remember them quite vividly. Just the weirdness of them. But no, it's interesting. You're just at the age where it's hard to dig into them too much. Where you're like, at 4 or 5 or 6, it's not like you can't be like, oh, you're probably stressing about work, like there's, right? Or something's coming. You're running from something. You need to face your problems head on. It's like you're a little too young for that. So I tend to think in that thing, it's probably something you saw in the news or picked up, and then your little kid brain is like, that can the earth can just open up and swallow you, like that's terrifying. And then your dreams are like, and we'll haunt you with that.
Yeah, just that one crazy young dream that just never goes away.
Yeah, strange. I think a lot of people have that experience of like a certain dream when they were a kid, but that's freaky. Kyoto, thank you for calling in, being the first caller, getting your 2 stories in. Really appreciate it. It really helps the show, getting the calls.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, take care.
You too.
Bye. Lines are open, 1-833-703-0424. There might be someone on hold. I saw they were, but I don't know. First off, thank you everyone listening to the podcast version of the show. This week's episode is beating last week's episode. That's what I like to see. I just like to see that continual growth when you're posting. We're not hitting records, but I did take some hiatus, so that's all I can ask for is the slow growth. And I appreciate everyone who's listening to those. We're saving up for a sound effects bundle. I know it says ads there, but I want to buy a nice big pack of sound effects bundle. That way I can, add some more sound effects to the show. Right now I'm doing it the most difficult way possible. And it would be nice to have a bundle of sound effects at my disposal, right in Pro Tools that I can just plug in when I'm re-listening to the stories. Furthermore, everyone down in Florida, if you're listening to the show, you catch the live streams. I hope everyone that was in the path of the hurricanes is safe and sound, and who cares about your property or whatever, as long as you and your loved ones are safe and happy, that's all that matters. So my thoughts are going out to everyone in Florida. I got some friends down there, friends of the show down there, so I just hope everyone listening to the show is okay. That being said, if you got hurricane stories, you faced the eye of the storm, you wanna tell, share your experience, by all means, 1-833-703-0424. The lines are open. Let's go to the chat here. Welcome, Silver Lotus. Hope you're okay. I think pretty sure you're in Florida. Killer Bee, Alan, Duchess is here. Paradox. And Kyoto. There's Kyoto just called. And Mama Doobie says hi and sends her love to everyone. We love Mama Doobie on this show. Lines are open. 1-833-703-0424. If you got a story, you got a spooky tale that you want to share. You seen a ghost? I want to hear it. It's my favorite thing. Probably my two favorite calls are the ghost calls and UFO calls. But what I want, and I think only one person is taking me up on it. I know anyone listening to this lives in a town or a city or a village or somewhere where there's more than just you. And in this area that you live in, there is some sort of local urban legend, or there's a local legend. There is a haunted house. There's a haunted hotel. There is some story in your area that is unique to your area, and I want to hear it. So if you've got a ghostly cliff, a haunted road, where young lovers were strung up by a man with a hook, I want to hear it. 1-833-703-0424. I would love to get urban legends. Greatness says, my little brother and his family lives in Tampa. They stayed bunkered down at their house and they made it through and just got their power back on. Whoa! I mean, Tampa was in the brunt of it. I don't know much. I've seen videos. Looks terrifying. Some cojones on them for just not packing up and leaving. But I mean, I saw pictures of the interstates and stuff, and I was like, whew, that would be brutal sitting on there and just doing that. Silver Lotus, thank you so much. Oh, I forgot to tell everyone, this week it's official. If you're watching on the YouTube, when I say it like that, I feel so. If you're watching on the YouTube, the YouTube, I sound so old. You can now send super chats. You can donate right through the YouTube chat. We officially got approved last week at midnight, and everything went through. So I think it's working. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know. Do you even see? There should be a little by the chat. There should be a little donate sign, a little money. Just let me know if that's even there, because it says approved. I don't really know how supers work. I know we can do it. We now have the capabilities. Tampa was just like I mean, I don't know what's worse. You're like, you want to be stuck on the interstate in your car, suffering the storm, or at your house. So it's like, I mean, that's a tough one. Andrew Hutchinson says, big frame picture fell off the hooks today. Ghosts. It's 100% ghosts. Story of the hash slinging slasher might give some spooks. Yeah, let's hear it. Ryan Tate, hey, could you do an episode on weather weapon conspiracies if you haven't already? I think we've done HARP on ATT. We've definitely done HARP. But if you want to call in, you want to talk weather conspiracies there, Ryan, 1-833-703-0424. We can shoot the shit on some weather conspiracies. Are they manipulating the weather? I saw in my world, my feed is all conspiracies. I saw all the pictures of where they were showing, they're seeding the skies ahead of the hurricane and all this, and listen, they flooded overseas there in the Middle East. I think it was Dubai or somewhere, where they seeded the clouds and they were like, whoops, overseeded, and caused like a 100-year flood. So, I think we could argue that we are manipulating the weather, but to what extent is our capabilities? Adrian says, I live in the Niagara region of Ontario. Niagara on the Lake is one of the most haunted places in Canada. The War of 1812 was fought here. Lots of good ghost stories and haunted walks to go on. Hashtag look it up. How about you hashtag fuck you call us and tell us about it? What do you mean hashtag look it up? This ain't ATT. This is fuck you call us. Call in and tell me some of the stories that are in your town. 15-foot surges are freaking wild. Yeah, that's wild. What's going on, Andrew? I see you on YouTube. Good. South Florida got hit bad with tornadoes. I mean, yeah, it was like I saw someone on Cosmic Channels. They're a Bigfoot page, but they live in Florida, and they posted they had like 9 or 10 tornado alerts like within 2 hours, something crazy. It's just tornado after tornado. Very strange. There's never done it though. Yeah, okay. Hey, you don't have to. I'm not pressuring. I'm just saying they're now available. I don't know if they pop up on my screen. I don't know to the extent of their setup. But they're there. It's a work in progress. We can do that now. It's another way to support the show. Alex Jones thinks liberals did it so right-wing voters won't vote. Because I like smash. Yeah, I saw that. It was like, I mean, I've seen. Listen, I love Alex Jones. I think he's hilarious. He's one of my favorite personalities. I just like, if we had that, you gotta think, if we have the power to harness like category 5 hurricanes, like, why wouldn't we just like blast the coasts of our adversaries at all times with just category 5 after category 5, like destroy their shipping lanes? Like, we're having such issues with China right now in the South Asian Sea. And like we're having to like guard the Philippines boats into like international waters for so they can fish their own waters, because China's like, no, you're not allowed to fish here. Like, couldn't we just batter their coast like and just destroy their like any kind of infrastructure by the sea and be like, global warming, it's crazy. Like, to me, I'm like, to use that technology on your own people to, garner votes to decide if BlackRock or Vanguard's going to be in power for the next 4 years doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But I like it. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to theorize about. We're just having hurricanes and tornadoes. Yeah, they're together. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was before or after the hurricane passed over, or if it was during, but it just, there was like a phenomenon where it was just like, not only was it hurricanes, but like tornadoes. Let me see if tornadoes, Florida. Let's see. 27 tornadoes struck Florida with Hurricane Milton. 27 tornadoes. That's insane. Like, talk about like, like just in the eye of the storm. Basically, a hurricane's a giant tornado, and then you're like in the eye of that, and you're just dealing with 27 other tornadoes. Like, wild. Hey, I am not questioning Alex Jones. Alex Jones has been right on a whole bunch of things. He's been wrong on a couple big things, a couple costly things. No, I don't question him. I just my own logical reasoning. I'm not questioning him. I just think about it in my own head. I go, would this make sense? Would you, if you had this technology to manipulate the weather to that extreme, like, I just feel like, wouldn't that be the perfect weapon to just like, you're like, okay, it's hurricane season. Let's just batter our adversaries this year. They're going to hit Cat 5 after Cat 5 and suck it. Well, it's just weather. You would be free to do it every single year against them with no repercussions at all. So it's like, to me, I'm like, the fact that it was like, and you're going to use it because Florida's a swing state and you're going to try to be like, that's where it falls flat for me. I'm like, that they're like, it only crossed Florida and it's a swing state. So they want to, I'm like, I just think unfortunately, we're a little too close to an election. And that's why I think everything kind of hits a political, it's them. But no, I don't know. I've seen 2 tornadoes in my life and I'll never forget the moment. I've seen a couple tornadoes too. Little dust devil ones, still tornado. They still count though. I don't know, category 0.25, I think they are. But yeah, on a baseball diamond, like, scary. I was like, man, this thing's gonna, I might not get my hat back. The Americans used weather modification weapons in the Vietnam War. They made it rain to wash out the roads and cause issue. Yeah, well, like, we do cloud seeding and stuff now. That's why I'm saying it's like, when people are like, dude, weather manipulation isn't real. I'm like, well, it is real. Where we have to question is, what is the extent to our capabilities? Like, we can cloud seed. We do that. So that's weather manipulation. Do we have the power to power up hurricanes? I don't know. That's the question. Thankfully, I'm in North Florida. Oh, thank God, Civilotus. I'm glad you're okay. They got more damage from Helene than Milton. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. You can't fight back if you can't provide your forces with bare necessities. What I missed. We're just talking hurricanes. Listen, you got a story. You got a ghost story, paranormal, Bigfoot story. Listen, your local urban legend, I want to know it. There's a house in Campbell River here. I'll tell this one. Haunted house. I think it's on Alder Street. And this guy wrote a book. I can't find it. But this guy wrote a book in town. It's called, like, The House on Alder or something. Or maybe it's Birch Street. Maybe it's Birch or Alder. I can't remember these word names. But he had never wrote a book in his life, not an author, and lived in this house for 3 years. And it was such an insane experience for him that he actually, like, logged all the different events during his stay at this house. And it's like 323 Birch, the book's called. It sells here. I don't think it's a big. I don't think it's a. I don't think it's a big, big box office seller. But it's talked about in this area. Let's do some other ones here. This is because there is some cool ones that I want to visit because they're so close and it's in the area. One is the next time in Victoria, and it might be sooner than later. I want to go visit Thetis Lake, and those of you who know Thetis Lake, it's such a cool. Honestly, if I lived near this, I would have Thetis Lake monster stuff all the time. So Thetis Lake is when you're driving into Vancouver, I think the area is called Langford as you're coming in. And on the right-hand side, there's a lake called Thetis Lake, and it has properties around it. Just a little tiny lake, nothing crazy. But it's the home of the Thetis Lake monster, and it's basically like the creature from the Black Lagoon. And kids, there's been 2 or 3 sightings of this thing, and it once came out and attacked 2 kids and scratched them. And then some people have seen it laying on the rocks and then scurry down, and the description is some sort of lizard humanoid, quite large. And the official story of this thing has been well, no, it was just someone let loose a monitor lizard, and that's got to be what this thing is. But what a cool local legend to live by. If you're living by this lake and you're okay, this is supposed to house some a legit creature from the Black Lagoon thing. Go kayaking on this thing. Do I want to hear a story? I can't believe that, Cody, you're gonna message and say you want to hear a Bigfoot story. Unbelievable. Of course, 1-833-703-0424. Of course, I want to hear a Bigfoot story. I want to hear all your stories. Alex, my boy Alex, I'm glad to see you on there. Hope you're safe. Call in, tell us about the hurricane. Tell us how it was. One day I want to call in and talk about my dad's alien story. Listen, Ryan, call in. Give me a fake name and let's go through the story. We don't have to use names. Just call in. Listen, Adrian, it sounds like you know a lot about your area and some of the creepy stuff. Call and tell me about them. Wait a second. There's no way Silver Lotus is saying monitor lizards can get up to 6 feet long? That's a Komodo dragon. There's no way. I don't believe that for a second. That's insane. 3 meters? That's 10 feet. That's insane. That's a huge monitor lizard. Okay. The average is 6 to 9? That's wild. I never knew they get... Okay, hold on, though. Hold on. Time out. Is this one of those things where it's like, yeah, they're 9... Like, from tip to tail? You know what I mean? Like, that's not that impressive. They got a long-ass tail. Like, but they still could be, like, 9 feet, but really their body's, like, 2 feet. You know what I mean? Like, their head and body. I've never seen like a man-sized monitor lizard. Yeah, listen, Ryan. I understand your name's on the YouTube, but it's not on the call. So if you call in and I say, Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from? And you say, my name's Dave from Davesville. I'm going to go, hi, Dave. What do you got for us tonight? And we can go just like that. I'll never know you called. And we can just go through your story. No one's going to know it's you. Cody, call in. Yes. Ugh, listen. I don't know if I'm just getting teased here in the chat. Your dad saw a Bigfoot and you saw a UFO. Call in. I want to hear both those stories. I haven't had a call since the first call. We've been sitting here. Let's go. Yeah, nose to tail. See, nose to tail is not... If you read the descriptions of the fetus monster, let me pull it up. Let me read the description here. Fetus lake monster. Ugh, why am I using Bing? Okay. Okay. A scaly monster which specified a sharply pointed head and large ear-like gills. Very similar to the monster featured in the film Monster from the Surf. So hold on. Well, that looks like Oscar the Grouch, but I'm trying to find it better. Or the creature, yeah, it's like exactly like the creature from the Black Lagoon, like arms standing, and gills, big old red lips, drinking Baileys from shoe. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Cody from Alberta.
Hey, Cody, what's going on?
Oh, not much. I just seen you guys are on Facebook there and doing a live stream, and I heard you talking about Bigfoot. My dad told me a story when I was a kid, and then I got the full story about last year, and it's kind of chilling, kind of not. So,
let's hear it.
But figured I'll share it because,
yeah, it's the place to do it.
Yeah. So back in like the early 80s in Alberta here, he was out hunting with his buddy Wes and my grandfather, and they were pushing bush for moose, and he came to this cut block, and about 300 yards away, he seen something on 2 legs walking, striding in his arms, right? So he didn't know what it was. He was kind of freaked out. He looked through his scope, and he seen it was like an ape-like creature. He didn't know what it was. And then years later, he seen a Patterson-Gimlin film on a documentary, and he was like shocked. He was like, I seen that. That exact same thing. So more to the story, though, he gets back to the camp, and he tells his dad, and his dad's like, oh, it's nonsense. And there's wood knocks and a howl that he heard, but his dad was like a non-believer and said, "Oh, it's just this, just that." Right? He would have been, in the 80s. He would have been in his late 20s, I would say. So, yeah.
That's wild. So even so he had never even seen the Patterson-Gimlin film prior.
Before that, no.
I wonder if when does the Patterson-Gimlin film come out? So the Patterson-Gimlin film's 67, so it was out. He just hadn't seen it, and I mean that's fair. Like I mean, I didn't see it till probably the 2000s, realistically, where I was like, oh, watching like History Channel. The interesting thing is though, it's like to see that and then be like, it's some sort of ape, right? Because like that's the best description that you would have of Bigfoot, of like to compare it to something. And then, of course, anyone you're with is going to be like, well, we don't have apes. Like, there's no apes in Canada.
Well, that's what his dad was saying, because, like, my grandfather died well before I was born, so, but my grandfather was saying, we don't have that. It was just some moose. You just saw it weird and everything like that. But funny enough, the girlfriend's dad actually, on a highway close to the area he's hunting, this is in the early 2000s, seen one cross the road behind him, just run across the highway, so... I mean, it gives it a little bit more credibility. Like, I haven't seen any. I haven't heard any. Thank God. I'm terrified of those big bastards, so...
Well, I mean, realistically, and I'm a Bigfoot believer. I think with how people tend to forget how vast Canada is and how much unpopulated land we have. Like, people are like, oh, you don't see it. It's like, do you know how much landmass that probably hasn't seen a person walk through it in a decade? Tons. Like, Canada's enormous with dense forests. So it's like, is it a possibility that there could be some sort of great ape-like creature like Bigfoot? Yeah, I believe that. We don't have the capabilities to track that much. So it's like, I do think that if they were, we've pushed them into more remote areas in the last 30 years with like our forestry practices and hunting and stuff. And especially if they're any kind of have some sort of intelligent, but like, that's not something you would want to tangle with in the woods for sure. Like, that's, that has some sort of conscious, like has some sort of conscious thought of self and like sees you. Like, imagine something stalking you as, like, let's be real, like you walking through the bush, if this thing has like, any kind of better smell or as good as vision or better than us, like, you're getting seen. Like, we're not that crafty. We can wear as much camo as you want, but like our vertical motion kind of gives us away, like when we're tripping over deadfall and shit.
Oh yeah, I was just hunting this weekend, so I know all about that. Yeah.
Now, your dad saw this in Alberta?
Yeah, in Alberta here. Same with the girlfriend's dad. Like 20 years later, so.
Any idea, like, rough about whereabouts in Alberta?
I'm not exactly sure where it was. I know he was hunting over by Swan Hills, Area 350, whatever, like WMU 350. He used to go back there. Him and his dad and his brother used to take an Argo and go camping out there in the middle of the woods and stuff like that. I haven't been in that area. My dad hasn't been there in close to 20 years, and we're assuming everything's different because it's probably all grown up or
so that's
more cut blocks.
That's just south of Slave Lake.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, realistically, like, if you zoom out there, like, god damn, that's like north of Edmonton. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of stuff up there. So it's like, I mean, this is in the middle of nowhere. Like, there's thick brush, muskeg, like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, could 100% be some Bigfoot country up there.
Yeah, like I've only heard of 3 people in my life that have seen one, and it's all been in the same area. So, and yeah, one was my dad, one was the girlfriend's dad, and some other guy that I was out fishing at a lake in the middle of nowhere, and well over, like, probably an hour away from where Swan Hills is, but he was like, yeah, I was hunting up there and I seen one by my camp. And the way he described it was kind of like it was standing there, he's seen it, it's seen him looking at him, and it just moved. And at the time I was like, no way, it was probably a bear. But then as he went in more description, I was like, maybe not. So
I mean, dude, there would, honest to God, would be nothing worse. I can think of nothing worse than being in the woods and like catching a glimpse and being like, what is that? And then you don't see it anymore. I would be like, I don't know if I could stay hunting. I don't know if I could stay out in the woods.
yeah. Luckily, the only weird stuff I've seen in the bush have been mountain lion or a bear. So luckily I haven't seen a Bigfoot, because I would be the same way. I would be like, I'm packing up my stuff and I'm going.
Here's a realistic question. Realistic question for you. And I want you to think about it. I'm going to put you in a scenario. You're sitting in the bush and tree line on your morning hunt, and you're glassing a hillside, and you see one. Say you see a Bigfoot in your scope. You take a shot at this thing? What do you do? Are you leaving it?
I've ran this scenario in my head before, and I won't. And it's not because I'm worried about missing it and pissing it off. Because, like, you can run through a few scenarios. You can hit it and kill it. That's fine. But then the other ones are going to come after you and destroy you. Or if you miss it and you piss it off, it'll just mess with you for your whole trip.
Yeah, and
or kill you.
I've thought about this a lot too, because people are like, oh, if I saw it, I'd drop it, a trophy, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would pull the trigger, because for twofold, I'm like, if these things are conscious, like on some sort of intelligent level that we are, I would feel bad, and then two,
yeah.
we don't know how endangered these things are. So it's like, am I dropping one of two, like one of the last breeding pairs? You know what I mean? Or, is me pulling this trigger in like that? There would be nothing worse for me than killing the last Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Like that. I don't think that's a title you would want to have. Like, oh, yeah, cool. That guy, yeah, like, he discovered Bigfoot. He killed the last one.
Oh, sorry about that. It was kind of cutting in and out there. But I got asked a question as well, would he kill a werewolf? And I'm almost like, no, because I've seen the movie before. You kill it, it morphs into a person. You're going to jail for 25 years of life, man.
Yeah, and then you have to explain to everyone, no, I just shot. They're like, it looks like you shot a naked man.
Yeah,
an unarmed
exactly.
Naked man. You're like, no, he was a wolf.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Now, did you say you also had a UFO story?
Yes, this one was short and sweet. So this is actually funny, last October, right before I found you guys' show, me and my girlfriend were leaving her auntie's place over by El Salmo. It's about half an hour, 45 minutes away from Whitecourt, and that's where I'm living right now, is Whitecourt. And we're leaving it was, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock. It was dark out, and I'm driving down this highway. I can't remember the highway's name, because I know I'm the kind of guy that's like, oh, turn left at the baseball diamond or something. But girlfriend's like, what the hell is that? I'm like, what? And I couldn't see it because it was on her side of the truck. And she goes, these lights in the sky, Cody, you got to look at them. So I stop the truck and I look at it. And how I would describe it is if you had like a crayon in your hand and you put it up as far as you can throw, like out in your arm and stretch out your arm, it looked like that with like 10 lights, windows on it, and it was moving from my right to the left, and it was going, and all of a sudden the lights went off, but you could still see the figure with the night sky. And then there's like, this is a weird part. It's like it went into like a portal. There was no lights, but it just, as it was going, it just kind of disappeared as it was going. Like you could see the front of the object kind of just disappear along with the tail of it. So we were like, okay, what was it? We thought it was Starlink until we watched Starlink videos, and we were like, there's no way. And we're looking, and finally it came up as a cigar UFO. And we both kind of like gasped, and we're like, that's what we saw. So, yeah, I don't know what it was. I don't think it was Starlink. Maybe it was something that could be explained, but...
Have you seen Starlink before?
Not in person, but with the videos I've seen, it's more skinny and it kind of goes up into the sky, right?
Yeah, I mean, it tracks. The first time you see Starlink in the sky is you're a little bit awestruck because you're like, whoa. But it's like you can look up videos and stuff, and you like after seeing Starlink, you're like you can very tell the difference between Starlink and any kind of other object in the sky. Like the cigar-shaped UFO, like you're describing. I mean, there's one. Hold on, let me pull this one up. I know there's one in. Is it this one? This one, 1952. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up on the stream here. Just gotta make sure. Oh, that didn't work. Hold on, 1 second. I have it here. Like this is what your description kind of reminds me of. Like where you see that you can see like an object with the lights. Is that kind of what it was? If you're looking on the live stream, it might be delayed a second or two.
Yeah, I just opened it up on my phone. Yeah, that was the picture I pulled up, and we both kind of like shocked and said, yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Like ours, like it happened over the course of probably like 30 seconds, maybe a little bit longer from when she saw it to me stopping and it kind of dissipating. But I couldn't tell you how many windows or lights it had. It had at least like somewhere between 6 and 10.
And
but,
I mean, that's
just kind of freaky.
And people forget, like when you see something weird like that, the last thing you're doing is like, how many lights? I better count these. You're just like, your brain almost stops working. You're just like, your brain is like reeling, trying to make sense of what you're seeing. Like, I've never met anyone that's been like, I had the wherewithal to be like, let me just quickly and not to mention, like, listen, I'm a finger counter. I'm gonna have to sit there, like my eyes are bad. I'm not gonna remember which. Did I count that one already? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't blame you for that. Like honestly, it's just you're seeing something incredible, and there's no other option of just than to be like, oh wow, what is that?
Well, yeah, it's like 2 years ago, me and the girlfriend were out for a drive, and we saw a mountain lion, and it was the first one I ever seen at the time, and we were driving down this one old police road. We drove right to it, and it was in the ditch. Like, I could have rolled down my window and, like pretty much pet it. And I never even thought about grabbing my phone and how cool that was. And that's something that we know about, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think people, I mean, yeah, and that's something that people forget is like, you know, how many times when everyone's like, well, why didn't you get a video of it? It's like, how many times have you gone like, oh, I wish I had my phone out for that moment, but it's the last. When the time comes, it's the last thing on your mind. It truly is. So.
Yeah, because you kind of live in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that was just a freaky sighting. I didn't know what it was, and then I was listening to a different podcast, and they're talking about aliens, like a conspiracy theory. And I just Googled it, and I found your guys' podcast. Been listening. I'm pretty much listening to every episode now.
Right on, man.
Yeah, it's freaking hilarious, you guys, and your reenactments are hilarious. So.
Yeah, we got. Yeah. We're gonna do some more of those. So we've been slacking. Our deep diving and finding the reenactments has been slow, but we're bringing them back.
Yeah, I think the funniest one was the one with the guy that seen a UFO and he was like grounded, but he was in a dogfight from Minnesota or something like that. I was crying laughing when I heard that one.
Which one is that? Is he that's the one that was up in the sky?
Yeah, he's up in the sky.
He's the one that got lost and he passed away, I'm pretty sure. Like he got lost.
No, this was an older episode because wasn't that one in Australia?
No, this one's in like Minnesota. It's like older, where he's in like a dogfight with this thing.
Yeah, that's like, the one I'm thinking of.
And in the reenactment, we're like screaming. I think I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it's like, dude, he's grounded. What are you doing up there?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're like he's crazy.
Yeah, that one was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, I remember that one now. I wish I could remember the name off the top of my head. I know exactly the one the case file you're talking about though.
Yeah.
Hey Cody, thank you so much for calling in with those Bigfoot stories and the UFO stories. Hopefully they inspire more people to call and share their experiences.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
All right, man. And you see anything else, you know where to call.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, take care, buddy.
Yep, bye.
Bye. I love Bigfoot calls. They're some of my favorite because they're my favorite because people see weird shit and they're like, I just don't know. I don't know what it is, and I know what it wasn't. Those are my favorite. And listen, if you haven't seen Starlink, there's maps and stuff. Get out on a clear sky. Keep those eyes in the sky and go see it because it is a very cool experience to see them the first time. I highly recommend doing it. In the chat, Silver Lotus, thank you so much. I saw Ulissa, and thank you to Chango using the first person ever to use this super chat. I don't know which one you're using, but I saw it pop up there. Thank you so much, Chango. Appreciate that. Let's go back to the chat here. Oh, it's in this. I saw a caller on the line. Lines are open, 1-833-703-0424. There was a caller on the line. Call back. Listen, there's a 16-minute hold. And I don't know if you were on hold for almost, and you just got bumped. So don't worry. Call back. The lines are open now. What happens is you're on hold for a while, and if I'm on a call, the call HIPAA will not change that. They just drop your call. They will not leave you on the endless hold. So my apologies. Call back in. 1-833-703-0424. Silver Lotus says, my coworker showed me a monkey on his friend's trail cam in North Florida. North Florida has swamp apes, chimpanzees running wild from a research facility. Hashtag look that up. That's real. Like, when people say like swamp ape and stuff that they see, it's for real. That's a real thing. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Adrian calling.
Adrian, what's going on?
Niagara region, Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls.
No, not much. Just hanging out.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Pretty haunted over there, you're telling me.
That's what they say, yeah. So this area in particular of Canada is used to be the old capital of Upper Canada, they called it. The history around here predates Canada, actually, around 1812 was the war between the British and the Americans before we were called Canada, excuse me.
That's the one where we went and burned the White House, right?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah.
But not before the Americans burned most of our side of the river.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
We don't
now,
talk about how they
of,
absolutely devastated us and all our infrastructure.
Yeah.
We won.
So,
we won. We burned the White House.
We did win.
Yeah.
If we didn't win, we wouldn't. We would be the U.S. right now. I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hey, the states thinks they're in control, but who's really pulling the puppet strings up above? Canada.
Oh, Canada, the Great White North.
Yeah.
Great White North. Yeah. So, in particular, Niagara on the Lake was the capital where a lot of the battles were fought during the War of 1812, and there's a lot of older buildings in the area that are about 200 or so years old. A lot of them were burnt down during the war, but a lot of them were rebuilt. And while they were being, I guess you'd call it, sacked, a lot of British soldiers were sort of taking refuge in the buildings. And there's one in particular. You can look it up. It's called the Old Angel Inn, and it's a restaurant that's still in service today. It's about 200 years. Obviously, it was burnt down, rebuilt. So, but they do have a pretty interesting backstory. So, there was a British soldier that was waiting for a rendezvous with a lady, and while the Americans were burning Niagara on the Lake down, and he hid in a barrel. And the Americans came in it was a coach house at the time, so they came in there and basically ransacked the whole place and destroyed everything, and they ended up stabbing their bayonets in everything where somebody could hide, and they ended up killing them in the barrel. And they say, to this day that there's that British soldier is still off the building, that there's, you know, apparitions at night. The cameras can see stuff when the place is closed. Place settings on tables move around. And an interesting thing that I was reading was that, let me see if I can find it here. I've lost it, but it says that the ghosts will remain calm and collected so as long as the British flag flies outside of the building.
Oh, is that why? You know, it's funny because I was looking at pictures and I was like, oh, there's one where it's just the British flag out front.
Yeah,
and I was like,
and that is still true to this day. Like, if you go there,
interesting.
They only fly the British flag out front because of the ghost inside. That's what they say.
Yeah.
And even just down the street, there's Fort George, which is where the British garrison was, you could say. They have their barracks there and everything. They have a haunted ghost walk there every year. It's going on right now, actually. And just across the river, they have Fort Niagara on the American side. You can actually see it. There's a lot of interesting history there, too, where they were fighting and shooting cannons over the Niagara River at each other, and burning each other down from a couple hundred feet away. So that's pretty cool. And even there, we also have what they call the Screaming Tunnel, which is not in Niagara-on-the-Lake, but it's in St. Catharines, which is
I think I've heard about the Screaming Tunnel.
The Screaming Tunnel, yeah, where supposedly a girl got burned alive, and you can still hear her screaming.
Interesting thing about the Screaming Tunnel. Fun fact about the Screaming Tunnel. Someone sent us a picture one time, a couple years ago, in the tunnel, and they said, this wasn't me, but I wanted to show you guys. And in it, someone had spray painted alien theorists theorizing, like
no
in
way.
the middle of the tunnel at one point. And we were like, oh, we don't listen. We're not here condoning vandalism, but but hey, that's pretty cool. In this like haunted screaming tunnel, that
I should go there and check that out. See if it's still there.
Yeah, I mean, this is a couple.
I only
years
live
ago
maybe 5 minutes from the Screaming Tunnel.
Yeah.
I'm not far from there. We also have another one called the Blue Ghost Tunnel, which is in sort of the city. We have a lot of crazy haunted places around my area.
The Screaming Tunnel is an interesting one because I mean,
had any personal ghost stories.
When you look at the tunnel, like it's creepy. Like it's a creepy tunnel. Like it's not like a cool, like it looks like it's derelict.
It is
right?
very creepy. Yeah.
So I mean, I could definitely see like that's a cool little local legend and stuff in that area. St. Catharines, you said, like where it's just
it's in between like St. Catharines and Niagara Falls.
Yeah, that's cool.
So in like the Niagara area, like all the cities are like within like 5 minutes of each other. So like Niagara-on-the-Lake is really close to St. Catharines, which is really close to Niagara Falls. There's also like Thorold, and there's Fort Erie, and all those places. They're all very, very close together. So and this, like I said, this is where a lot of Canada's early history came from our area. So.
Can I ask you a favor? Can I email me after the call, CosmicChannelsPodcast@gmail.com. I'm going to send you a pull tab printout sheet, just a black and white one. It won't take a lot of ink. And next time you're in the area, just post it, and it's going to say, like, have you heard this screaming lady? Call Cosmic Channels with the pull tab number so people can call.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, yes. Oh, I would love that so much. That's my new thing.
CosmicChannelsPodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's my new thing. I want to hand these out to people. If you got a haunted area, and like little haunted spot in your area, I'm gonna send you a pull tab thing.
So I'll print a few of them.
Like Alcoholics Anonymous kind of style.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
Thank you so much for calling in and telling us a little history of your area. Really appreciate it. It's cool. Like now,
yeah, man, I'm a big fan of the show. Been listening to you guys for a lot of years now, and keep up the good work. I'm looking forward to Monday.
Right on, man. Take care of yourself.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. That's so cool. Listen, Screaming Tunnels You got haunted diners with some rich history. Like, listen, Niagara should be reaching out, and we should be. This is basically haunted tourism here, right? Now, that's two things I want to do. We could hit up this, you know, I want to go to this place and be like, can we pull down the British flag? I just want to see what happens. And I want to go to the Screaming Tunnel at night, of course. Listen, and where should I post I have, if you're not on our Discord's patreon.com/Alien Theorist Podcast. Listen, helping this show, helping that show, you help all the shows. It's phenomenal. And you get access to Discord. We have a bunch of crazy people on there. Awesome community. But I have the pull tabs there. But I'll send them to people. If you want them, if you're interested in putting up a Cosmic Channels pull tab station in your area, just shoot me a message at CosmicChannelsPodcast@gmail.com, and I will send you colored and black and white, whatever you want. All right. Yeah, his audio, it said, you know, it's weird because I checked. I heard people saying his audio was scratchy. It was not scratchy recording, and it was not scratchy in my ear. So I'm like, whenever there's like a weird issue, like some audio ghosts going on, I'm always scared to touch things to fix it for the live stream, because what I've done in the past is I've wrecked it on the audio version, and I'm like, damn it. So, you know, podcast version, that'll be fine. No issues. Tell them to put Cosmic Channels. Yeah. But, well, listen, we're not condoning vandalism, but we'll put that. Yeah, reaching that audience. Silver Lotus, they're on Discord. You can print them. I have them on the Cosmic Channels little sub Discord. Yes, Adrian, I would love a video of you asking to pull the flag down just to see. As long as it's recorded. Yeah, recording should be fine. So don't worry about that. 1-833-703-0424. Listen, you got to. Sell me on your hometown. That's a better way. Maybe I should be putting it like this. I like traveling and I like visiting creepy things and creepy places. Sell me on your town. What's creepy about your town? What haunted spot do you have? Maybe that'll be the first Cosmic Channels trip. I do think if this show, listen, I'm daydreaming here, but I do think this would be Cosmic Channels would be a cool, really cool show to do. Do a live show, but you would have to have, a bigger audience. Not really that big of an audience, but just that we could say there's a haunted pub in my town, and it's called I've been there. Why is the name blanking me? The Harriet Bay Inn. They have a little bar. If there was 30 people in the bar, it would be packed. But it would be cool to have, kind of post and have some people come and just be like, it's like a, around Halloween, you come, everyone's having some beers, and we have a stage, and people come up and sign up to tell their stories. We just pull names out of a hat, and you come up to your ghost story. We talk about it. Audience asks questions. I think it would be a fun, cool live show, but I mean, it is also public speaking is the worst, so I don't know how great it would be. Caller on the line. I'm gonna let it ring one more time. Cosmic Channels Podcast. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Braden, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's me.
How's it going?
Good. Who's this?
Good. You're behind on the beer. Anyway, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you today?
I'm Dave from
Dave.
New Zealand.
Oh!
I did say New Zealand.
What's going on, man?
Yeah, not much. Yeah, I've got this is my dad's story, aliens.
Oh, let's hear it.
Wait, but first I guess I want to say, because of the other guys, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And I think you've said it before, but my theory is that it's like an experiment Because like, have you heard that story that the Soviets were like experimenting with like mixing humans and
Yeah.
apes?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's like the best theory. Yeah.
I mean,
and it like escaped or something.
it's not out of the realm of what's happened. Like they were doing that in Florida. There was like an animal testing center that just released the chimps into the swamps.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, that's not something that's like, it's not like, well, that's crazy. They would never do that. I'm like, well, they've done similar things. So it's like, where do we draw the line of human depravity? Right. Like, I think we all know there is no limit to the like insane shit we will do.
Well, I think the theory is like, you can't let the other person do something you wouldn't, So both the American side and the Russian side were like, we've got to experiment with this so that the other side, doesn't get it first.
It's so strange, yeah. I 100% agree with you. That's I get like, we saw that all through like, World War II and stuff, and they're just being like, humans, who cares? We need to figure out how long we can freeze motherfuckers till they die.
Yeah. Like the 731, you've heard about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, we do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I guess it kind of makes sense. And, if the whole point is to have a creature that can overpower a human, then why couldn't it just escape somehow?
Well, maybe it's...
And it was like half the intelligence, or between the intelligence of a human and so it wasn't like a complete, it was like half human intelligence.
Well, I mean, maybe it's some sort of like they're trying to, it's like a super soldier program. They're like, listen,
that's
way
what I
better
mean.
than
Super strong. Yeah.
And then they're like, you know what? Let's abandon this. It's too hard to make these apes smart. It's way easier to just juice the hell out of our soldiers.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I wouldn't even be surprised if it came out and then that was the whole Bigfoot thing. I think that would make a lot of sense.
Like like some genetically modified great ape that's all like already, or I agree.
I mean,
wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is my dad's story, and like, it's weird because he's from like this sort of very practical generation, so he hates even talking to me about it. Because he doesn't want to sort of seem silly or whatever, which really annoys me because I don't care about that at all.
Yeah, it's like, why? Like, you're gonna judge him? You're his kid.
Yeah. I know. No, I love it. Like, I try to get it out of it. But anyway, I'm like a bit worried. But if I don't do it now, I'll never say it. Anyway, all right. So he was with his sister and her boyfriend. I think he was like a teenager. I don't remember the specific age. He was in Victoria, Australia. They were out hunting rabbits. So they split up, and so he was like alone. And then he sees a full-on spaceship with two of like the classic sort of grey aliens out the front. And one, he's drawn this
landed on the ground.
Landed with the ramp out.
Oh,
there was
shit.
like a ramp going into it. Yeah. He's drawn it. He's not a good drawer, but like it gives you the idea. And one, he said one was like at the ship doing something, and the other one saw him, and it was like he like peeked behind some trees, and he just he saw like half the UFO, and everything is very like classic, it's like the typical UFO, and then the typical gray alien.
You shouldn't have shared this story. They're coming for you.
Sorry.
I don't think you were allowed. I don't think you were allowed to share the story. I think you're in trouble now. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah. They're on to me. Wait. So there's more of it. Yeah. So and then he sees like, and then this is good and even more sort of stereotypical, but he sees like a flash of light, like it's just like it's like the Men in Black thing, you know, like the I can't remember what they call it.
Neuralizer.
Neuralizer, yeah, that's it. Yeah. So he sees this white flash, and then he wakes up like a distance away in a field, you know, just like far away from where he was.
Dude.
And he shoots up so that his sister and her boyfriend could hear him. And then they find him, and yeah, that's it.
How long were they looking for him?
Yeah, and then he said there was like a time delay, like it was like an hour.
Oh my God, your dad was abducted.
Yeah.
That's unreal, dude. No wonder he doesn't want to talk about it, dude. He's probably got some deep-seated fear about what happened.
Like I said, sorry, what was that?
He probably has some deep-seated fear about remembering what happened, or maybe he has glimpses of what happened, and he just doesn't want to talk about it because of that. Like that's some traumatic stuff.
Yeah.
When you said your dad doesn't want to talk about it, you know, I was like, oh, he didn't want to talk about seeing it. I didn't realize he doesn't want to talk about it because he got abducted. Like that's I get that now. This makes way more sense. Holy shit, man, that's insane.
Yeah, I know.
But, and
you're actually just making me think now. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Maybe.
Can I ask how?
Maybe there is some repression.
Yeah. Can I ask how? Well, it's like, and I mean, like, that's so, like, when you read some of these stories and you hear some of these accounts of some of these people, like, some of these people know something happened to them and they see flashes of what happened to them, but they can't really piece together, and they're not sure, and they don't really believe it. And then, you know, some people go to therapy and unlock it. Some people do, you know, hypnotic regression to unlock these memories, and a lot of times it's not the best thing that happens to these people.
I know. I was thinking that, but then I've heard as well, like with that regression, you know, you sort of invent memories.
Yeah, you
so
fill like
I don't know 100%.
You fill in the blank spaces, right? And that's the thing with memories is like, yeah, he might it might flash for him, and he might be like, something happened. But the fact that, like, dude, he see that flash, like, I mean, there's been so many. There's the orb in Russia. I mean, they came down and they had like sticks and they flashed a bunch of people, and a bunch of people just like woke up. They're like, what happened? Like, right? So it's like, it's very similar to that kind of story. And he describes them as tall grays.
Yeah, he said there were. I think I remember saying, like, were they short? And he was like, no, they weren't. I think it was like somewhere between what I think of as standard gray and a human height.
Yeah,
like, they weren't that short, but they were. Yeah.
I mean,
that was according to him.
I think we would classify those as tall grays, even though it's like, I think we only call them tall grays because they're not short.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I'm always from the camp of, I don't necessarily think that's a fair thing, because I'm like, you know, if me and Andrew are in the same room, you're not going to go, look, there's a small human and there's a tall human. There's a short human.
Right.
Well, a lot of people do that to Andrew, but like, there's not that, like, there's two humans there. It's not that, like,
like there's just variation.
Yeah, like, maybe that's the case with them too. Right?
Yeah.
And all the short kings like to hang out together. They like to ball together. Like, who, you know, we don't know. Yeah. But that's so interesting to me that, like, and what you said, it was his sister.
Yeah, he was with and you know what's crazy? This is like to how sort of embarrassed he is to say this or whatever. She still doesn't know, you know. Like,
oh shit!
We were with my sister's family, his sister's family once, and you know, like, he still doesn't want to tell her.
Does what did he say in the moment when he got up in the field and they were looking for him? He just was like, I napped?
Nothing. Well, because they were out, like, they split up. You know, they all knew they split up. So he never said anything to them.
Oh.
It was just,
man.
and he still doesn't. And I don't want to push him to do anything, But it's just crazy to me that like she still doesn't know. No one knows. I don't think his family even knows.
Okay. I mean, and this is up to you. Like, I understand it's a sensitive subject with your dad, and I get it. I 100% get it.
Yeah.
Especially from that generation. You know what I mean? Like, they're not big sharers.
And also he's like the youngest. He was like the youngest child. So there's a bit of that, like being taken seriously.
I
kind
mean,
of thing.
if you're curious, what I think you could do, that's totally fine. Is I think you could ask your aunt about the time your dad was missing for an hour while hunting.
Yeah.
And just
I wonder if that's even like I've never been like is that because I think you've spoken about hunting before. Like is that weird to split up for an hour?
Not. Yes and no. I mean. It would be weird if it would be weird to split up and then me to find you laying in a field. That would be strange. Like, because normally
but he got up. No. They didn't find him laying. He woke up. And, yeah. He woke up and that's what he said. He said he only had one shot left, so he shot it up, so that they'd come and find him.
See. Yeah, so that's not the strangest thing. I mean, other than, like normally hunting, it'd be like, we'll hike this ridgeline. I'm gonna sit up here, and I'm gonna hike down the ridgeline to this next spot. We'll meet up there, and whoever's there first just waits for the other person. And it's like that's not crazy to me. I thought they found him in the field, but the fact that he got up, I'm like, yeah, no one probably knows that this happened, and he just doesn't want to. Sure.
Yeah. Because I was you were saying like, would she remember? I mean, to her, it probably seemed like normal, and she probably barely even remembers it.
Yeah, there's nothing. Could you imagine if she had an experience too, and just no one talks about it?
Oh yeah, they all did.
They all did that day, and they're just like, "How was hunting?"
Honestly, I would imagine that, and they're all too.
I mean, So has your dad, like, he's drawn pictures for you, or like he has pictures that he's drawn?
No, he drew. Honestly, he never brings this up. Like, I have to draw it out of him. And, and then I told him, could you just, like, draw a picture? And, he did it. And it's just crazy. Whenever I think, like, I never see him, when he talks about this, he's just sort of in a different state.
And I have to ask, like, your dad's not is he a jokester? Like, is he a guy that'll tell you a tall tale for his own amusement?
No, and this is what I was saying before. It's just so down to earth, and everyone says this. Even, my grandma on my mom's side believes that because she always says that, he's so down to earth, and everyone says they use the same phrase, down to earth, So,
like, this is so out of left field for him, then. Like, it's
just
so strange. Because I was like, to be fair, I'm like my dad was the type of dad where it's like he had a gold tooth, and he was like, oh, your grandma's rings fell in soup and melted and fused onto my teeth. That's how I got this gold tooth. And you're like, oh no, how did that can happen? Like that kind of stuff. So it's like he would do it for his own amusement. So it's like, but if that's not the type of person your dad is, then it's like, then it's like, okay, well, fucking even more intriguing. It's how much does it bug you that you just can't you just give it to me? Like, give me the story, Dad. Come on, let's sit. Let's go through it 100 times.
What bothers me is just that attitude of like, I don't want to be silly. I don't want to be seen as silly,
I know.
It's so strong.
It's too bad. Can I ask how the first time you got it out of? Like, how did you hear about it the first time?
My mom told me.
So he shared it. Was he upset? Was he upset that your mom told you?
What's that?
Was he upset your mom told you?
Yeah.
Oof.
No, not that upset. He was just like, yeah, that's what happened.
Oh.
And yeah, it was just it just hit me like how serious he takes this at the time. Like, whoa.
Oh man, I honestly, it's
Yeah.
like uncharted territory because I wish I knew to give you advice on how to like broach the subject better,
Yeah.
and like and break through to him to like maybe open up more about it or like if he remembers. But it's like I also get it because I'm like, man, that would be it'd be
Yeah.
tough, especially that generation. Like they're not. I get that they're like they don't want to
Well,
be.
I sort of feel like a bit bad already because of how much I sort of push it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like.
How old's your dad?
Which is weird because, he's 64.
You got plenty of time. You got plenty of time to get it out of him. Get him a couple, a couple of the unlock the vault. Get him a couple peppermint schnapps and
Yeah.
next Christmas, right? Start throwing on
Yeah,
alien
well,
movies.
that's how I got it last time. we had like the most I got out of him was this. We were all at my aunt's for Christmas, and I think it was Christmas, something like that. And yeah, he was like he'd had a couple, and that's where I got the most out of him.
So this is honestly, this is just for you. It's just a slow burn. Just got to get him sauced up on special occasions and get a little more out every time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's mostly it. Unless he's like, there are like repressed memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
That's hey, Dave. Thank you so much for calling in with that story. That was phenomenal, man.
That's right. I always think because I see you guys come up, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get him to tell it, but then I forget and everything.
Hey, listen,
So,
if there's anywhere where he could tell his story with pure anonymity, it's here, with no judgment.
Okay.
So if you can ever get him to,
like a voice changer.
oh, I'll turn down the octave of his voice. You sound like this the whole time when he tells 100% whatever he wants. If you can get him to record it, if he wants to call, I'll even do it off the live stream if he wants to set up. If he's like, you know what, I'd like to share it. I'll make any time that works for him. We'll make this happen.
Yeah, next time. I don't even know because I feel bad every time I bring it up. But yeah, I'll try.
Yeah, let me know how it goes, and if you get any more out of him, feel free to call back.
Yeah, cool.
All right, Dave. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. Oh, what a phenomenal story. You got your parents. Have your parents opened up to you about some weird experience they've had? Call in and share it. Listen, just snitch on your parents. Tell their story. That's what Cosmic Channels is about. Sharing stories, even if they're not your own. If they're your parents, call in. I think that's going to be it for this episode of Cosmic Channels. Thank you, everyone who called in. This show dies without people calling in. So thank you, everyone tonight who called in and shared their experiences and their stories. Thank you to everyone who got in the chat. That really helps boost us in the live streams on YouTube and stuff. So thank you so much for that. Thank you to everyone who donated the show. Every bit goes right back into Cosmic Channels, helping the show grow. So thank you so much. And I got a little bit of bad news. I don't think we're going to be able to run Cosmic Channels next week. I'm going to say there'll probably be no Cosmic Channels next week. I'm out of town. I'm bringing some portable gear with me. I don't think, I'm almost 100% certain I will not have the capabilities to record the calls on my portable setup that I do at home. So it's unfortunate. So next week, probably missing it. If you all of a sudden see it pop up for Cosmic Channels on the 17th, I miraculously figured it out how to get it going on a laptop. The difficulty is I have multiple screens, multiple computers going here, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do it off one. I'm going to give it an old college try, though, when I'm out of town next week. If not, we'll do a makeup episode. Maybe I'll record twice in the coming weeks. Next Cosmic Channels for sure is October 24th. And we'll see you all then. And having said that, Cosmic Lines are now closed.